Hello again, friends. Matt with Eddie's Guitars coming to you, as always, from St. Louis, Missouri. Joining me today is my good friend, Mr. Tony Polecastro.
It's good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much for coming to our part of town, and we sure appreciate that.
It's a great part of town. It's the first time I've been to St. Louis proper, so.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we're thrilled to have you here. We've been able to bounce around town a little bit today, just a real little bit around St. Louis. Not much, but showed Tony around the shop, of course, and we're so blessed to have him here under our roof to share some conversation, share some enthusiasm for these lovely instruments that we all really love together, and just talk about what you've been up to a little bit. And
well, I mean, we'll start from present day and we'll go back. Obviously, got here last night late. It seems like a decade ago already.
I know.
We've been cramming a lot into the days, but just happy to be here at Eddie's and hang with Matt and just meet the whole crew. It's been a blast. Back at home, life is just rolling. 2 kids. Grayson is 7 months. Emerson is about 3 1/4. However they say that in parent-kid terms.
Yeah.
And then my oldest is going to be 17 in May. So it's just family, and it's just awesome. I mean, I just been writing a bunch and playing a bunch. So
well, I wanted to talk about that. We've been seeing folks that follow Tony, myself included, of course, and mentioned to you even earlier that just personally, I'm appreciative of you sprinkling your meanderings of ideas out there into the general public. It's brave to do that with unfinished ideas.
Yeah.
Things that you're developing and aren't quite maybe fully developed yet. But I got to just tell you from one guy's perspective at least, and I'm sure more, it's inspiring to see sort of the creative process from somebody who is very much so a songwriter.
Thanks, man. It's been... I kind of do that. It was something I committed to. I don't want to call it a New Year's resolution, but it's something I wanted to commit to because it just keeps me accountable. It's kind of an accountability check. Not that anybody's saying, "Oh, where's your little musical nugget today?" But it keeps my brain kind of rolling on, okay, let's come up with something new. Just pushing myself to create something new, because it's really easy to just play what I know.
Right.
It's really easy to do that.
Believe me, I know.
It's you fall into that comfort zone because you don't want to sound bad, or you don't want to struggle, or you don't want to feel like you don't have any ideas. So reaching for that low-hanging fruit's always easy,
right.
But I'm like, I'm going to climb up to the top of the tree.
Sure.
Find some of those fruits.
Awesome.
Try to, anyway.
So I got to ask you, and of course I'm gonna be monitoring my my computer here a little bit while we try to do this. So bear with me here, folks. We're gonna keep this casual, and we definitely, we very much so called this a Q&A. So folks, if you've got questions for Tony, do not be shy. He will answer all and any of your questions, no limitations whatsoever.
Nothing. It's open the floodgates.
But I wanted to ask, again, I'm going to talk about myself included, not exclusive to me at all. We've had quite a crowd that has been following your Acoustic Tuesday show for a long time now. Eddie's Guitars and myself have been lucky enough to be included in some of your Acoustic Tuesday episodes over the years, which we always just had so much fun with, and we're honored to be a part of. The Acoustic Tuesday show is no longer a thing, and
correct.
I got to tell you, I'm feeling a little bit of a void, and I don't think I'm alone. I'm trying to just entertain myself now at this point.
Yeah.
So what have you been up to since the Acoustic Tuesday show?
Well, I mean,
has
to
ended?
be totally honest with you and everybody, I miss it too. I miss it terribly. It's like this wonderful little family that was created. Every Tuesday, it was like, your morning cup of coffee. You'd sit down, boom, you got Acoustic Tuesday. And I enjoyed coming up with the ideas. I enjoyed hosting it. I enjoyed the interaction. All enjoyment. And so just to set the record straight, I miss it as well. But we actually canceled. It sounds so harsh. We stopped doing the show. I'll leave that open-ended just in case. We stopped doing the show right around a month after the Fretboard Summit in Chicago. And that was really tough to come out of the Fretboard Summit when everybody's like, yeah, I love this episode was great. I love the Acoustic Tuesday show. In the meantime, I'm wrestling with the idea of stopping the show. And I really think it's just, there's two pieces of the puzzle, and one is the highest priority, and that's my family. Having a newborn at home, a 3-year-old, it's a lot, and I want to make myself available to them, as much as I possibly can. And the show was a blast. It also was, it occupied a lot of my time, which was good, but, family, life, work balance, that whole thing. So that was one of the deciding pieces. The other deciding piece was just pouring my effort into Tony's Acoustic Challenge and developing that, redeveloping that. Feedback is ultra important to us, and we've been getting a lot of feedback from members about different aspects of the program. So to be able to take my focus, which was previously split between the Acoustic Tuesday show and then the platform, Tony's Acoustic Challenge, it was really nice to sit down with Levi, my business partner, and be like, okay, we need to revamp the curriculum. We need to make it streamlined so that a beginning guitar player can come in and feel welcome and not intimidated. They know where to go. Their hand is held, and they're having fun right from the start. So being able to pour our efforts into that and really see the benefits already has been awesome. So that I didn't disappear. I didn't crawl into a little goblin hole and shutter myself away from everybody. It's been all into Tony's Acoustic Challenge. Beautiful. Pretty much. Yeah.
Well, and on that note, we've got comments, of course, rolling in already. We've got, I'm sorry, I have forgot to mention, my good friend Mr. Alejandro is behind the controls today, folks.
What's up, guys? How's it going?
We're literally out of cameras. You will not see Jandro. You will hear him, though. So he will probably be correcting me on all the things I'm doing wrong along the way here. But as I said, we've got some of our regulars in here. We've got Jumpin' Jeff S., who we all know and love. Jeff, great to have you here. You know Jeff, of course.
Yes, I do indeed.
We've got Mr. Peter Richter in here. Pete, I haven't seen you in a while. Where have you been? We've got Remo in here. We've got Mr. Ian Cummings. Ian, so good to have you here. Thank you, my friend. Bunch of our friends here today. Bryce Rogero, my goodness. All Aficionado Lure Company. Thank you all for being here. And where did we go? Let me find it again here.
It's tough to operate that.
Dude, I'll tell you what, this is new to me, and I am unqualified.
You're like on command center.
We got Gene Goodall in the chat.
Unqualified. Matthew Pensky. Pesque.
I like that.
I need to learn how to read before I start trying to talk.
You're doing great. Keep it up.
Quick plug for Tony and Tony's Acoustic Challenge. It's a wonderful community, and Tony is an inspiring and encouraging teacher. So for anyone wondering about Tony's Acoustic Challenge, if you've got questions, like I said, about Tony's lesson program, his online lesson program, or anything related, this is a great time to ask because he's sitting right here. So
I'll put some questions on the screen for you, and you can just read them right from there. Does that work?
Thank you. Yes. Thanks, Jandro. That's why Jandro's here.
It's a team effort.
Hey, guys, for both of you, what is the most time you have spent learning a song? That's a good question.
Oh, I would say it's probably Last Steam Engine Train for me. It's a John Fahey song. I believe it's John Fahey song. Leo Kottke did it. It's really cool footage online if you can find it. It's Chet Atkins, Leo Kottke, and oh my gosh, there's another one there. It's not John Fahey. There's another great guitar player there. They're all playing Last Steam Engine Train, but that was the first. So I first got into fingerpicking with that song. And I remember distinctly in my Chicago apartment sitting at the kitchen table with the printed out tabs. YouTube lessons really weren't a thing then. and I was just going through the tabs line by line. And this was, I mean, we're talking months. And I think at the end of 4 months, I still couldn't play. I still couldn't connect all the pieces. I had all the pieces, but I couldn't connect them because I was fingering it all wrong and just not efficient, and a laundry list of things I was doing wrong. But I would say that probably took me the better part of 8 or 9 months, about the time it takes to grow a human. To be honest, I'm still trying to perfect it.
Yeah, I believe it. For me, I don't even have. I'm bad that I don't do other musicians the disservice of trying to learn their songs very often, for my sake and for their sake. However, I've lately been really trying to dig into some Elliott Smith tunes, and I got to tell you, for I don't know if singer-songwriter is oversimplifying it, but for that type of playing, that is some complex chord work that dude came up with, and I have a feeling, like you said, it's open-ended. Like it may never be perfect.
Yeah,
it just kind of is what it is. A lot of Elliott Smith tunes for me have been extra challenging, but of course rewarding once you feel like you've got even just a part of the song under your belt. Is satisfying. And I think you always tend to, as I said earlier, even subconsciously, you tend to pick things up when you learn somebody else's music, especially if it's a vastly different style than what you're used to playing, which is very useful.
Yeah, I think there's, if I could just add a little bit to that, there's 2 things I wanted to add. One, I just saw an interview with Charlie Parr, and he was talking about learning a song note for note versus kind of taking the song and making it your own. And I think that's a distinction that I didn't necessarily make. I didn't make it in the past, but I make it more now. And I think I veer more towards trying to make it my own.
Your own
whether that's cheating or not. I don't know if I really care.
Sure.
But there's some that I do want to learn note for note. But then there's also isms in my own playing that I sometimes just can't. I can't turn off, and that just kind of happens. I have to modify a little bit. But I'll mention, I was just talking to Matt at lunch, that trying to relearn some of my own songs has been proven very difficult, and I don't know if that will ever end. I'll record them. They're all in weird tunings, and sometimes I don't remember the tuning. Sometimes I feel like they're gone forever. So that's a lifelong battle.
You reading or me?
You're reading.
Tony, thank you.
Yeah.
We've got a question from Remo that says, I'm curious to know which are the 2 guitars that Tony and Matt play most often at home.
Oh, wow. This has changed in recent history for me. You're going to go first on this one.
For me, and I've said this a couple of times before, it is still, at least as of right now, my number one go-to is the McPherson Carbon Sable. That guitar has been living at least a full step down, so like a D standard type of tuning, and I kind of start there, and then if I need to, if I need to go lower or do altered tunings from there, D standard is sort of my E standard where I base everything off of. And the clarity, I don't know, I know you've got one.
Yeah.
If you throw that thing in the lowest tuning that it will go into, they can practically become baritone guitars if you want them to. It is so satisfying to hear the clarity in the low end of that guitar when you really have it in a low tuning. It's not a guitar that you can necessarily belt out bluegrass on in those tunings. You got to be a little delicate and deliberate with it, but just the tone that rolls out of that, effortlessly is really fun. And especially, I have to say, in the winter-ish months, that Carbon Sable is just so easy to leave next to my recliner or in my little makeshift studio at home. Keep it real close and easy to grab. So that's been one of the guitars not only that I play the most, but has frankly allowed me to play guitar more than maybe I would have otherwise. So that's been a lot of fun to dig into that guitar. Thanks for the question, Rima. Appreciate it. I want to mention super quick before we get to the next question, we have both Miss Jean Goodall in the chat.
Oh, awesome. Hi.
As well as Miss Noemi
Hey!
in the chat, believe it or not. So we got all of our friends jumping in here. So we also had a question from Matthew. What is the hand that you have sometimes in front of you?
Well, that's in response to the question. Let me find it here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's taken me 9 years to figure out the most important fret finger. Thoughts?
We consult the little hand for that.
Yeah, the little
The
hand.
oracle.
I don't know
where
where it
where
went.
did it go? I had the same question, by the way.
This is the little hand. We're getting sidetracked, people. I'm sorry.
I want to go back because I want to tell them the guitar that I play the most at home.
Oh yeah, of course.
Because I want to piggyback on the
Absolutely.
McPherson. That's my main travel guitar is the McPherson carbon fiber sable. Yeah. I throw it in a Calton and I check it. I know that's like a big no-no, but I feel pretty confident with the fact that it's carbon fiber. It's in a Calton that I can check it, and fingers crossed. So far, so good. It's been on 9 or so trips with me, and it's made it. So that's my travel guitar. You know, if I'm not gonna go play a gig, if I go play a gig, that's gonna be a different story. But the main guitar I play at home, there's actually two, and I'm glad Noemi's here because that's gonna be the one. Her hybrid crossover, which is just a behemoth of an instrument. I've never played a nylon string instrument that is so responsive and so freely just offers sound. I mean, I barely have to touch it. In fact, it makes me play in a completely different way. Because I was trying to play some of the tunes I wrote on the nylon string on steel string, and it doesn't work. I need that guitar to play those songs. So that's one of the ones I play at home, and then the other one is my Tom Sands custom Model M that I just got in January, second week of January, and it's been very lovingly played every single day for many hours a day. I've been writing a lot on it. So those are my two main ones, the big ones.
I wanted to. That's a great question to dig into this a little bit more. Can you, if we could start with your Sands guitar?
Yeah.
Can you tell us about that guitar?
Yeah. So that guitar, it was the first. I'll call it small bench luthier. I think if that's an accepted term, I'll use that. Guitar that I had ordered, and I met Tom online ironically from the Acoustic Tuesday show. And we just clicked, and I've heard his guitars on numerous recordings, and they all exhibit the qualities that I was looking for in a guitar that could handle lower tunings, was responsive. I didn't have to play it all too hard. Think like fingernails instead of finger pads kind of approach. And got to talking with Tom, and he's like, let's do a signature model. So the back and sides on that guitar, so it's a Model M. That's his kind of medium-sized guitar. But it's different shape. It's got a wider lower bout, which I think contributes to the sound a ton. But Crelicum Ebony back and sides from Bob Taylor's mill, which is kind of a cool connection.
Absolutely.
The top is it was going to be, I'm going to get confused on the top. Help. No. The top, I believe, is a German spruce.
Nice.
We were going to go with Swiss spruce, and then Tom called me last minute, and he's like, I found the piece.
Awesome.
Which I was totally open to because I went to Tom because I like the sound that he builds. I like what he offers. So when the builder's directing me in a certain direction, saying, hey, I know what sound you want, I know how I can achieve it with this, I kind of just give him the green light. As far as appointments, it's a unique instrument in that it has brass inset in the back, along the back strip, that's got imagery and icons significant of where Tom lives and where I live. So it's got this cool like England kind of vibe and also Montana mountain vibe.
Remind me the artist's name.
Drew Millward.
That's right.
Yeah, he does a lot of concert posters. He's done some posters for Billy Strings and some other really big acts. And then that same brass work is done on the back of the peg head and features my initials and some other cool imagery that Tom and I came up with. So
I wish we had some still images for Hondro to put on the video, but it is a shockingly great looking guitar. Just the photos
beautiful.
that you've posted and videos. the videos I've heard of it, I can only imagine what it's like being in the room with that guitar, being just surrounded by that, sort of three-dimensional presence. I haven't had the opportunity to play any of Tom's instruments yet, but we will fix that.
Yeah, I wish I could duplicate myself and like be me playing and then me standing out in front of it, because I know it's a different experience. And all the videos I've posted have just been kind of crummy phone recordings, which do the job for my purposes, but they don't do the instrument justice. And I almost feel like it's a disservice when I do that. I'm like, oh, this sounds so good. And here I am with my little iPhone. But, it's the outcome for me is more documentation right now. When I get it under real mics, I think it'll really shine.
In this process of just sort of the bespoke custom commission build with Tom, when did this start?
March of 2020.
Okay.
March of 2020.
And you just took delivery of it late last year.
Yeah. But to be fair, I mean, it didn't take 4 years to build. Conceptually, actually, we went concepts. It took us like good 6 months to kind of really dial in what we were going to make, what he was going to make, and I was going to play. But, I think all in all it was maybe a 2-year build, I think. I don't want to, put Tom in a bad spot by saying it takes 2 years, because there's a lot of one-off stuff that he did, and I'm a little bit fuzzy on the timeline. But, yeah, and then once I got in the queue, it was kind of like, okay, are we going to start? Are we going to start yet? And then when he did start, it was like, I was like a kid on Christmas. Every time I'd check my email, I'm like, oh, a little update or whatnot. And then when he told me it was done, I was like speechless. I was in the car driving. Emerson was in the back seat going absolutely bananas. I'm trying to listen to Tom tell me the guitar is done. And I'm like, this is the worst case scenario, but the best case scenario at the same time.
Awesome. I have a customer named John down. I say customer, he's become much more of a very good friend down in Florida, that says, if you ever want to tell someone how to make time stand still, tell them to get involved in a custom commission guitar. Because time stops as soon as you tell them to hit the green light.
It's so true. And it's crazy because this is going to sound super gluttonous, and I don't know if I'm going to apologize. The verdict's still out on that. But right when I took delivery of Tom's guitar, this first one he built, like 2 weeks later, he's like, you're up again, because I had put another one in the queue. So he's like, do you want to wait? And I'm like, no, we're not waiting. So that one's going now.
I don't require an answer for this, but if you would so indulge us, and you don't have to.
Yeah.
What's the second build going to be like?
The second build's going to be vastly different. It's going to be a Lost Tunnel Redwood top with Brazilian back and sides. And it's such a fun process to be able to communicate with the builder and work together to achieve, the same desired outcome is just, it's kind of magic. I mean, he's sending me pictures of different tops and different woods that, he thinks will be a good fit, and I get to choose. It's like kid in a candy store kind of stuff. I feel very, very grateful that Tom not only took on the projects, but, it does such impeccable work. I'm just floored. And I do have another NAMM in the queue for 2025.
Well, and before we get to the other NAMM, let's talk about the current NAMM.
So, yes.
You and I both, I think for the first time, were lucky enough to meet NAMM in Chicago. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So we, Tony and I were both at the Fretboard Summit in Chicago this last year, and were lucky enough. Mr. Jason Kostel introduced me to NAMM while we were there, and NAMM introduced me to the OM Cutaway guitar that she had brought for the show, and I instantaneously knew I needed to get to know this woman and also her instruments, and was just couldn't have been more enthusiastic about what I was playing that she had made, and lo and behold, she the guitar ended up becoming available, and we got it. And
I was a day late and a dollar short.
Tony wanted it, and somebody bought it before Tony could get it. So we knew we had another guitar coming behind it, and it was this nylon crossover. And we've done a number of nylon crossovers through the store here from some great builders, but I have to say, I don't know that I've ever played one quite like NAMM's. It's just an extraordinary guitar. She sent it to us. Actually, it's a guitar that she had on display at the Woodstock show in New York, and she ended up sending us that guitar. Tony got word of it, and Tony was not too late on that guitar, and we were glad to be able to send him that guitar. And like I said, I just hadn't played kind of a modern style nylon string guitar like that before, and it just had such a unique openness to it that I know has been expanded upon a lot since you've had it and just really been able to play it. I believe this is your first big boy nylon string guitar.
Yeah, it's definitely my first big boy nylon string. I had like a Godan something or other way back, which was great. It was a great guitar. Not that but this is in a way different class. Like, it is far beyond that. It's far beyond any expectation I had out of what a nylon string could offer. Like I was saying before, it just makes me play so much different because it has this openness and responsiveness. Like, I'm okay with the space. I'm okay with leaving space because it feels rich. It feels full. The notes, there's a wonderful sustain and breathiness to it that you want to hear. Sometimes, I don't know if you get this, like sometimes you're playing and you want to leave space and you leave it and you're just kind of like, I can't wait to get to the next note.
Yeah.
I don't feel like that with this at all. It's just a joy. It's a joy to play. Awesome. It's a joy to play. I'm absolutely floored every time I play it.
I had this might be, I'm just going to go ahead and say Stephen has maybe the most important question that you can answer today.
Okay.
Not to overhype this.
Okay.
This question is for Tony. How are you so good at convincing Whitney that you, quote unquote, need another guitar?
Well, there's a delicate balance that I need to strike on a daily basis, hourly basis. I have an absolutely wonderful and understanding wife, and I need to make sure that she knows that. She knows that I know that. So that helps. And I do, sometimes I go to my guitar room in our house and I look around and there's a lot of instruments in there. I don't need to mince words. We're all guitar geeks here. But it's also, it's my work and passion. I think that's the piece that really is the keystone. If I was a construction worker, I'd try and have the best tools I could possibly have, and I look at the guitars the same way. I try and get Whitney to understand that. Sometimes she does, but there's also an element of surprise that I have to throw in there. Like, sometimes I'm like, I'll just put this guitar on order. It won't be ready until 2025, 2026. We'll think about it later, in hopes that by then she will have swallowed the pill of, oh, he's getting another guitar. Yeah. And I also have the kids. I got 3 kids, so I need to make sure they each have a healthy guitar collection inherent. So, I really have a lot going in my favor here.
Very, very well answered, I will say.
There's other tricks we can get into, but if you want to know specific tricks on how to get new guitars in the house, we can go that route.
That might be a subscription channel all in and of itself, right there. Matt and Tony, this is from Tomas, is one of our real regular friends that we have in our live streams here. Matt and Tony, will we be seeing any new solo release albums in the near future? You first.
Yes is the short answer. Since I've gotten the NAMM and the Tom Sands guitar, I've just been writing a ton. I've really, and this actually goes back to talking about Tony's Acoustic Challenge, because when the Acoustic Tuesday show ended, we revamped the entire curriculum. Wow, Tone, talk much? We revamped the entire curriculum of Tony's Acoustic Challenge, and we've spent probably a good portion of a year redoing that. And there's a lot of work involved because I got to find a model song, something that I think will convey certain skills, certain techniques. So I really sink into that. And once we revamped that curriculum, it kind of the workload, the filming and whatnot, and my creative energy was kind of freed up so that I could go write. So I've spent, I would say probably since about, I don't know, November or so, really sinking into writing and being creative. And I have a lot of ideas. I want to say, if I could quantify it, I have like 9 songs that I feel pretty good about. And that to me it's great. But I don't want to be in a position to where I just have enough. I want to go and record and have just a surplus of tunes so that I can pick and choose and kind of what makes sense with the album. You know what I mean?
Kind of curate the pieces together.
So I'm hoping end of what year are we in? 2024?
Jeez, are we?
I think so.
Yep.
I think so. I still think
That's
it's
the one.
2015 when the Hawks won their last Stanley Cup. But I'm hoping by the end of this year. I'm not going to really put too much time pressure on it because I am writing regularly. I don't feel like I'm falling off in that regard. So I'm hoping by the end of 2024.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to answer that question. I'm hoping to record an album someday. It's been in the works in one way or another for going on. When's the first time I came out to Montana? Going on 8 years.
Was
now?
it the year before the Blues won the Stanley Cup?
Yeah.
I measure everything in Stanley Cups.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So it must have been 2018.
Yeah.
Because the Blues won in 2019.
That's true. Mine's coming up real soon, people. I promise. We've got a lifetime TAC member commenting in, Rich Brodeur.
Awesome.
Hi, Matt and Tony. Of all the slope shoulder guitars you've played, it's right up your alley. Which is your favorite? Big question.
Ooh. It's not a Gibson. And that's not a dig. I need to clarify that. I think when I think slope shoulder, immediately J45 pops into my mind. That's where that comes from. And I've played a lot of great Gibson J45s. It's really neck and neck for me, and it's hard for me to choose between the two because the Atkin J43 that I have is absolutely a workhorse. It sounds so dry, so woody. It's so comfortable to play. It fits me like a glove. And I think that has the edge over my Santa Cruz Vintage Southerner. But it's in the studio, the Vintage Southerner sounds, it's brilliant. It's brilliant for strumming tunes. It just adds wonderful depth. It's very woody. It's very warm and comfortable feeling. But if I had to pick one, I would say the Atkin J43. And it actually hurts me to say that.
Those Atkin guitars in general, man. Everybody turn your speakers off because I'm only repeating myself from what I've already told you. They're incredible. I love them. And, I try not to put an extra emphasis ever on simply just the price of the guitar.
Yeah.
But, let's face it, they're unbelievable guitars. And the pricing is just too low. It's just too low for what they're building and the tone you're getting and the build quality and the finish and the wood. It's they're doing good stuff. Yeah, good stuff.
I echo that sentiment. I've not played one that I was disappointed in.
No.
I've not played one that I was just simply like, eh.
Well, and it's not like they've taken one recipe and then applied it to a bunch of different shapes and sizes. And I told Alistair Atkin exactly this. I said, I appreciate so much how you so clearly have done the homework on the OM, the L double. It's like these are voiced the way they're supposed to be. They have that old woody, in a lot of cases kind of drier, really honest tone to them. And stylistically for a lot of those guitars, that's what we're itching for, is that older, mature tone. Fun stuff. And, just the vibe of the finishes and the sunbursts and everything and the way they kind of check the finishes. it's all there.
I was talking to Hondro about that as we were setting up, and I was like, they don't seem to shy away from trying new stuff. I mean, you want a pink guitar?
Well, case in point, right here, we've got the double pick guard here.
Yeah.
This is the ASJ, sort of their take on, if you want to call it, kind of a J185 kind of a vibe. Double pick guard, very Everly Brothers vibe, but kind of that vintage or Olympic white kind of tone. Yeah, and Indian rosewood on the back too, which is cool. See so many maples and mahoganies. You want to play us something on that?
Sure, I think. Let me find something to play.
We are talking about guitars. We might as well play something.
It's in this, as Matt refers to it, it's in this low man tuning, which I don't know if I'm qualified to play. Let me see. Yeah, this is just a hoss of a guitar. I'll just strum a few chords. I don't have it, anything fancy that way. Yeah, just I will add something about these guitars. Every single one that I've played of varying neck profiles, they're very playable instruments.
Sure.
And I don't know if that's just a function of neck shape. I don't know if that's a function of, I know this sounds really bizarre, and maybe like kind of I'm forgetting the word, like placebo effect. The relic finish. Mm-hmm. I know this is going to get some people's hackles up. It makes it feel like okay to play it.
Yeah, sure.
I have both. I've got both different guitars at home, and I don't know. There's something about it. I think the sonic implications of the distressing or relicking is almost secondary to how it feels.
Yeah, sure.
I know that was a little bit of a detour, but
no,
that's definitely how I feel.
Yeah, there is a supple quality that they tend to have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there are numerous things that this company achieves that it's like, how are you doing that? But yeah, awesome stuff. Can I hand you another guitar?
Yeah, sure.
We'll just keep anything in particular you want to play, or can I
just fire away?
Dealer's choice?
Yeah, dealer's choice.
Tony, can you briefly touch on the pickguard on that guitar? Someone was asking about the how it affects the top's vibration.
I think it sounds great, so I can't say that I would notice an effect or a damping effect. I mean, I'm sure if you measured it, it probably would, like with and without, but it looks so sexy.
They're real thin. It's not like another piece of wood on top of the wood. They are thin pickguards on there, I'll say. So the weight that's added is probably fairly minimal. But yeah, I mean, don't you want the look?
I feel like I should be a better harmony singer if I'm going to play a guitar like that.
Get a nice, real clean haircut.
Little sweetie.
So
might have to explain Whitney. Might have to learn how to explain.
Taking a real small guitar case home back home with you. This guitar was actually on display at the NAMM show at the Collings booth. This is an O2H that they had at NAMM. Adirondack spruce top. With, if you flip that over there, a gorgeous set of Cocobolo, nice quarter-sawn Cocobolo on the back of that guitar. This is the 14 fret O2H, so single O, 14 fret, short scale. Just a sweetheart of a guitar, whether you kick back in the easy chair kind of thing, or just a comfy little guitar to play, but big sound, just big barking sound out of those things.
Yeah, we were talking about this because I had a chance to just. I've been hanging here all day, and I got to tell you, it's just been great. I think they're gonna have to kick me out. I was telling Matt, I'm like, at first these small body guitars, I'm just like in my head, like finger picking. What can we play that really brings out the best of this guitar? And it does. It handles finger picking just fine. Ironically, I think at least this particular specimen really excels flat pick.
Totally.
I mean, it is just punchy and throaty. Whoops. It's just it just has it's like got the horsepower,
Yeah.
You can feather the gas and it's beautiful and it rings, but if you dig in, it's right there.
Yeah, like you said, those lower mids and the growl that they have is pretty satisfying when you just give it a little bit more with your right hand.
It's just
Again, I always have to remind myself this thing is in its infantile stages. Just imagine.
And I don't know if it's like a Collings thing, because to be frank, I don't have a ton of experience with Collings. I've played a lot of Collings that I love, but I talked to Bob Minner at the Fretboard Summit,
Sure.
and he had one of his older Collings there, and he had a brand new one that I think they were delivering it to him in Chicago.
Oh, nice.
And they had done something different to it, and I don't know all the ins and outs of it, but he had me play the new one, and then he had me play the old one. And I was like, how did they do that to the new one? It was really cool. It kind of really floored. Both Mahogany dreads, just kind of your standard Road Dog dreads, but absolutely phenomenal.
Awesome. Yeah, they're D1As, man, in any form. The traditionals, the straight up standard version. That's a tried and true right there.
Yeah.
If there ever's been one. We've got, before I forget to mention, I'm trying to keep up with the comments here as they come in. Mr. Jeff Jewett's in the chat with us.
Heck
So,
yeah.
we just sent one of his JJs out the other day that was on the last live stream we had.
Nice.
Jeff, really good to have you in the stream. We appreciate it.
I dig the stuff he's doing with Derek. I think it's Derek.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, that's
totally.
really fun to watch. Really cool.
If you are ahead of me there, Hondro, go ahead. I'm trying to play
we got
catch
a
up.
question from Miss Q on YouTube. What's the worst guitar heartbreak you've ever experienced? Like a guitar that got away, a broken guitar, etc.
Ooh, well.
I might know the answer to that already for him. if recent events are any indication.
Yeah, we can go down that road for sure.
We don't have to.
Do you have one?
No.
No?
I mean, yeah, but do we... Am I going to sit here and cry on camera?
Yeah, fair point. Okay. I'll just do a quick one that got away because it's easy. It's low-hanging fruit. I bought a 1920s Weissenborn Style 4 lap style guitar. Play it like this, slide. Mm-hmm. And I think I got it for $1,800, which is an absolute steal. It was an absolute steal then. And to be frank, like I never purchase guitars with the intent to resell or to resell them or flip them and make money. I'm just not interested. I'm an accumulator, not a seller. So anyways, I got this guitar. I played it on my first album. And then I think at this point in my life, it was like either pay rent or get kicked out kind of a situation. So I ended up selling that guitar for like $2,400. And then I thought to myself in recent history, I should go back and I should pick one of those up again. And I found one that was like $9,800. And I was like, that's not going to happen right now. Anyway, so that's one that got away. The one that is probably the most heartbreaking in terms of guitar damage happened just 26 hours after I...
And just so you know,
yeah,
Maestro's in the chat.
Oh, Tom's in the chat?
Yeah,
Tom's in the chat.
Yep.
Tom, thank you for being here.
Tom, you're a real jerk. Tom knows I love him. We had a great visit. It was one of the highlights of my life.
It was so great you couldn't even detour to St. Louis and come see me.
Yeah. So yeah, Tom delivers the guitar. I'm talking about the Tom Sands custom that second week of January I got it. He comes in, flies from England to deliver this guitar, and I am just beside myself at how it's so beautiful. Tom is there, and like we're sharing this moment of like, you know, he built this guitar and I'm playing this guitar, and it's just this union of awesome emotions and feelings and all that good stuff, you know, the warm fuzzies, unicorns, and rainbows. And so they leave the studio. I bring the guitar home. They come over for dinner, I think the next day or something like that. And they're playing with the kids. It's just like Tom was there with his girlfriend Claire, and it was just like, I want these people as neighbors is kind of the feeling I had, you know. It's just that kind of a connection. So I put the kids to bed, and I was turning off lights in the house, and I was like, I'm not going to play. I'm pretty tired. But then I was like, I got to play. This guitar is just waiting for me, and I just want to play it as much as I can. So I grabbed the guitar, and there was one light left in the living room, and I had the guitar like this, and I went to turn the light off, and I twisted, and as I twisted, the top of the guitar, like the bass side, hit the corner of the couch, and I just heard this sound that I never want to hear again, but it's embedded, it's burned in my brain. And I think I knew, but I didn't look. In my head, I'm like, this can't be real. Then I went over to the kitchen under the light, and I like flipped the guitar up, and I look, and there was like a 3-inch crack like right here. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I've got plenty of guitars in my collection that I play often, carry around the house. Why now? Why this guitar? And luckily, Tom was there. I was terrified to tell him, by the way. Just petrified, because I'm like, he flew from England. We have this great, you know, we're just having this we're just vibing. And I was like, he's going to kill me. He's going to kill me. He's going to kill me. Long story short, I work up the courage to tell him. I open the case, and he's like, is that it? I'm like, what do you mean, is that it? I was literally in tears over this instrument. And I know that sounds silly, but there was so much wrapped up in this instrument, you know, emotionally and whatnot. But yeah, he's like, oh. And then he puts his hand inside, and he kind of gets it back together, and he got the wood lined up, and it looked like it never happened. And then we went over to Gage Hallen's shop in Livingston. Mm-hmm. Great builder. Shout out Gage. I don't know if you're watching or not. If you're not, you should be. And he just, he patched it up, and you can barely see it now. And it's funny, because from that devastating moment, now I kind of feel a little bit more like the guitar is a kindred spirit. You know, it's kind of the story. You know, I don't know, made it my own real quick.
Well, and I don't know if when you initially told me this story weeks ago, when it happened, or shortly after it happened, on the phone, we were talking, and even at that point, I could tell that you were presenting to the world that it was okay.
Yeah.
Even though I could tell inside it was not okay still. And I just said, hopefully the further we get away from that moment, the less that is. So hopefully that's the case.
It is the case. It is the case. And I was just trying to justify and convince myself that it was okay. because I felt like all the feelings. I was like, I'm the worst guitar owner in the world. I don't deserve this. And there was already all that baggage coming along with getting the guitar in the first place. I'm like, am I worthy of this? Like the whole Wayne's World thing.
Sure.
But yeah, I play it nonstop. It's a member of the fam.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Love it.
Even the kids, Emerson sees the guitar and he's like, that's the guitar Uncle Tom built.
Nice.
And then he follows that up with, Uncle Tom's a really good monster. Because those two were playing a bunch. Yeah, it was pretty great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'm sorry. I'm still trying to keep up here.
Oh, you're good.
I'm getting.
I got one for Tony. Jumpin' Jeff says, this is fun. Tony playing. I have not played with him in years, and now we sound way better when I jam with at home. Assuming he's advanced his skills.
That's awesome. Yeah, Jeff, I'm looking forward to your next Montana visit. Hopefully that's soon, maybe. I think you're in Oregon now. That's what Jonah tells me. Jonah's his son. Jonah works with Tony's Acoustic Challenge.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and we were just talking about Jeff before we went live, and it was like, Jeff's the kind of guy that walks into the room and everybody just breathes a sigh of relief. It's like he's just a calm, awesome, wise man. I'm happy to know you, Jeff. And I look forward to jamming with you again.
I was going to say, hopefully, in lieu of the Acoustic Life Festival, I was going to say, we had such a good time in Chicago last year. I mean, for those of you that aren't in the know, I don't know what camera to look at here, Hondra. I'm sorry, I look like a crazy person.
Just look at the floor.
For those of you not in the know of the Fretboard Summit in Chicago, look it up, and if you are able to attend, boy oh boy, make plans to do so.
Yeah.
All of the cool people are going to be there. Just look at us.
Yeah, we are just perfect examples of super cool people.
we may just actually be the coolest ones in attendance.
I mean, I think everybody measures their coolness against us.
All the builders that are there, all of the customers and friends of ours that come there. It's such an awesome community of very like-minded folks that just want to play guitar and listen to people play guitar and searching for that kind of well of inspiration. And boy oh boy, that's a good one there.
It really is. I had a blast. The first year I went, and I was excited because it was at the Old Town School, and I used to work at the Old Town School, and I was like, oh, this is fantastic. I'm going to be able to see all my old friends that I used to work with, and then this guitar thing's going on. And it is hard to describe the feeling of just being surrounded with like-minded people, and like you said, it's just a well of inspiration. And I met NAMM there, and that resulted in not only a great guitar that's going to be built, a great guitar that I have, but also just a great friendship. I didn't meet, but Gage Hallen from Livingston, Montana, which is funny because he's only 30 minutes away from my house. We spent more time together in Chicago than we did previously when we lived next to each other. But so many people, Isaac Jang, I got to meet him, and then Isaac, the social butterfly that he is, just went around introducing me to all these different luthiers. People I've only, dreamed about playing their guitars, and there they were. You could ask them the questions, and everybody's so open and awesome to be around. It's just, it's incredible.
It's a good time. If you folks are able to attend, that's a good one for sure. And so, it's kind of an industry thing, and that shop folks go and builders go and such, but it's very much open to the public as well, which allows everybody to kind of mingle freely. It's, I'm not comparing it to NAMM in any way, but in the sense that everybody's kind of there for guitar stuff, which is cool. And it's a good time for sure, and a much more intimate vibe. I was going to say, we've got from Matthew here, hey Tony, one of my favorite parts of Tony's Acoustic Challenge is the play along with Tony songs in the jam session. Will you be adding more of those?
See, please there. We'll leave that one open-ended for now. I've actually, I don't know if I should let that cat out of the bag. I will. I've been toying with some ideas. I've been trying out doing Instagram lives, and unlike Hondro, who is behind Control Center, making this effortless here, I struggle with technology to the nth degree. It's pretty bad. But I want to do Instagram lives that are like, come jam with me. Let's just play some songs. Give the opportunity to just play rhythm. I'll play rhythm, and then whomever's watching can solo. So that is likely how that's the form that will likely take. I'm not 100% sure on that. That's just an idea that I have. Since we were spending so much time revamping the curriculum, my main effort has been in that. So now I'm kind of coming up for air and assessing the program as a whole, different aspects of the program, courses, etc. So I'm not ruling it out, but I'm going to try and do a little bit of a sideways journey into that realm, because it is really fun, and I know folks got a lot of benefit out of that.
All sorts of love in the comments. All the builders are speaking amongst themselves now and ignoring us.
Oh,
so
cool.
I think we've done our job.
I'm glad we could provide this platform for you guys.
Luthier's chat commence. Awesome. Jeff, we are going to order more guitars, I promise you. Jeff Jewett saying you sold the JJ, you got to buy more. Matthew says, thanks for answering. The recordings are a great way to practice playing with others and working on solos and stuff. Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Absolutely. We got some other stuff in the hopper, too, that I can't let that cat out of the bag yet, but just keep your eyes peeled.
Well, and which maybe is a good segue into another question, is what do you see in your future that you can share with us? Anything specific, big picture, or specifics, or anywhere in between?
I really am starting to, it's funny, Tony's Acoustic Challenge has been around for 10 years. It'll be 10 years in March. 2014 is when it started. Did I say 20 or 10?
10.
I ordered the wrong menu item when I went out to eat today, and now I'm like super self-conscious. I in my head I wanted something, and then I just started reading the menu, and she's like, "Wait, what do you want?" Anyways, so I just need to make sure we've crossed the 10-year mark, or we're about to cross the 10-year mark. So in terms of bigger vision stuff, it's really helping people understand Tony's Acoustic Challenge. It's helping, to be honest, it's helping people find Tony's Acoustic Challenge and understand that wherever they're at, in a beginning stage or coming back to the guitar after a while, they can play and it can be fun. One of the big tenets, and I get so much flack for this, is that I tell people not to practice. And that halts people immediately, and they're like, don't listen to this guy. He doesn't know what he's talking about. And I understand. I mean, that makes sense, because when you tell somebody not to practice, they're like, well, how am I going to actually get better? That's ridiculous. 10 minutes a day? Yeah, right. You can't master the guitar in 10 minutes a day. I've heard it all. I've seen the comments online, and it's I try and ignore them. It's hard to ignore them because I'm a person. Where that comes from is that I want people to have an enjoyable experience with the guitar. And that's really my main focus going forward, is to sink further into helping people discover that whether they're just beginning, it's day one, or they haven't played in a while and they're coming back, maybe they played in high school, that they can have fun, they can get hooked, and they can progress and have success, whatever that means to them, on their own terms. Not comparing themselves to others, not thinking they should be at a certain spot because they're this age, or they should be at a certain spot because they played this long. It's really about getting hooked, enjoying it, and making the guitar a part of your life. And I know that sounds maybe pie in the sky, but to be honest, the guitar saved me, like, big time. And I just want people to understand that that's an option that's available to them. That's why I was, super into the Guitars for Vets program, because it just seems to align with how I feel about the guitar. And I want people to find that. So really pouring my effort into Tony's Acoustic Challenge, developing that program so it's more accessible, so that more people can get into it, so that more people have that success on their own terms. And back to I kind of left the practice thing, but I say don't practice, and it's very, like I said, startling. I think if you tell anybody that, they're kind of like, what are you talking about? I just want to encourage people to play the guitar. And it's funny because on the way out here, I was reading Buddy Guy's biography, Life Away from Home or something like that. I don't know the exact. The author's David Ritz. And he was saying he had learned this the John Lee Hooker tune, Boogie Chillin', I think. And then he said, oh gosh, if I'm going to play guitar, I need to go take lessons. So he goes to this lesson, his first lesson. The guitar teacher hands him a book, and he says, this is the book. And Buddy Guy looks at the book, and he says, this isn't, I don't want to play this. I want to play John Lee Hooker. And the guitar teacher, very adamant, said, this is the book we're going to be practicing out of. And Buddy Guy said, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to take this lesson. Because in my opinion, it really wraps up this idea that if you're not looking forward to playing guitar, if you feel like practice is this obligation, you feel like you should or you feel like you have to, it automatically puts it in the negative category of things, like things that you either dread or you feel obligated to do. And I don't want the guitar to be that for anybody. I want it to be a source of joy. So I just encourage people to play. Play the guitar, play 10 minutes a day. If you do it regularly, you're going to get better. And are you going to master the guitar in 10 minutes a day? Maybe not, but what's your goal anyway? Do you want to play like Eddie Van Halen, or do you just want to strum songs around the campfire with your buddies? I think knowing where you're going and helping define expectations is kind of my job, and that's where I see the future of TAC going. I mean, that's where it is right now, but I see just kind of keeping that out there and keeping that message front and center so people understand that this should be an enjoyable thing.
It absolutely should be, and I have to just say I appreciate that you're so deliberate in saying, it's kind of like you said, whatever success means to you.
Yeah.
Everybody's musical journey, if that's what you want to call it, none of them look the same. None of them are the same path, the same direction necessarily. They're all different and unique. So why should we be expected to apply a very generalized, and things have definitely gotten better over the years, but I think back to the 70s and 80s, even, before my time, thinking about what guitar instruction must have looked like back then. It's absolutely depressing to think about.
It is. You look at Mel Bay Method Book 1, it's like,
and Mel Bay is a St. Louis original, so we love him, but no, that's a book I probably wouldn't open if my life depended on it.
Sorry, I should have said Hal Leonard, Method Book 1. Read the room, Tone. Read the room.
No. But it is unique to everybody, and like you said, making the emphasis on not comparing my progress to yours or to Handro's is critical, I think, in keeping somebody interested and motivated and really wanting to do it. So just appreciate that mentality behind it. And I have to say, I've never personally gone through your lesson program, but everything that I've come to learn about it is unique compared to every other lesson thing I know about out there. So
thanks.
And I think that speaks to its success, not only in what you do, but in your students' success and what they've achieved as players. So,
thanks.
We both know you've had students that have started from not being able to finger a chord that are out recording albums, doing open mics, performing their own original music out there now.
Yeah.
And this is within a handful of years that this has happened for some of these folks. It's amazing the kind of transformation folks have had with your systems. So.
It's and I'll touch on that because I'm a guitar geek just like you are, and you are, and Handro and everybody surrounding us right now. I sign up to a lot of lesson platforms. That's not something I would hide. I love Active Melody. I love Tom Feldman's stuff. There's another guy, Texas Blues Alley. His name is totally escaping me right now. There's some great programs out there, and I find extreme value in all of those. I think now, in terms of learning guitar, you can throw a rock and you're going to hit a lesson or a tip or a trick or something like that. So I think it's great. I also think that a lot of those options cause a little bit of paralysis.
Sure.
But one of the common threads that I see with a lot of guitar lesson sites, and this isn't, I'm not throwing shade because I said I find value in all of those, is that you sign in and you're in the library all of a sudden, and then you have to make another decision. You've already tried to make a decision of which lesson program course should I do, and then you sign in, you sign up, and then you log in, and then you have another decision to make of like, what song am I going to learn? What course am I going to take? And again, the information is good. I'm not devaluing the information. It's the choice that really stands in our way a lot of times. We can use that as a procrastination method.
Sure.
I don't really know which one to choose. I want to make sure I choose the right one, but if I choose this one, am I missing out on this one? And it's this mental game, and pretty soon you're drained before you've even started. And that's one of the main things that we try and do is when people log in, you just hit start challenge. That's your lesson for the day. That's your daily challenge. It's going to be pulled from 5 categories or 5 skills that you would use to play any song, so that you do the time you're putting in, you know that you're going to become a better player, and you know you're going to be able to take those skills to other songs, learn other songs quicker. And that's something that I feel really strongly about, and that I think is really important. So there was a lot of intent behind the design of that, of like, I don't want it to just be another pile of books, like the digital manifestation of a pile of books on my desk, because I have that. I've had that. I still have that. And it starts to become weighty, you know? It's just, I got to do this. I got to do that. I just want people to say, I'm going to commit to playing guitar for 10 minutes a day. I'm going to log in, play that day's challenge. And if you play more, great. If you don't, at least you're being consistent, you know?
There are a lot of things that Matthew says, there are a lot of things that make TAC great, but the real differentiator is Tony and his personality and enthusiasm for helping others find and maintain sustaining love for guitar. Boy, oh boy.
Man.
Quote that on your homepage.
Thank you, Matthew. That's very kind. I very much appreciate that.
Marco C. says, hey, is that Tony Polecastro? Or I'm going to mispronounce the Stan Makita? Says Tony will get the reference.
Yes, indeed. Stan was a great Blackhawk. He was a great Blackhawk player back in the...
Is there such thing?
What's that? A great Blackhawk player?
Uh-oh.
I mean, we've got 5 and you've got 1.
All right, then.
So...
All right. All right.
That's horrible to say. I don't have to be. I'm now a blues fan.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm a blues fan, at least for the next 3 days.
You better be.
I am.
You might not be making it out of here.
I know.
Can we talk about the jersey you're wearing?
Oh, this is a great segue. Let's talk hockey.
Can we?
I'm in. Yeah, let's do it.
Booty asked why the 98 Chicago jersey.
Well,
I was wondering the same thing.
Well, there's not a lot of bright spots in the Hawks season this year. Let's be honest. We're the worst team in the NHL. But last year we did have the number 1 draft pick. The number 1 draft pick was Connor Bedard. Young talent, generational player, all the accolades you could want from a number 1 pick, and he is downright fun to watch. So I had to give my boy a little bit of oomph. I had to give him a jersey sale. So.
I have to tell you, and I did tell you, and I'm contemplating telling the masses here. I have come close to in fact, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you, I've got one of those jerseys in my shopping cart already. And it's not because I'm necessarily a Chicago fan. You can't deny the kid's talent, though. And boy, you know, I'll take a jersey and wear that with pride.
Man, I tell you what, we were talking about this at lunch, but you know, the scope of professional sports, like anybody that attains that level, I just admire and I'm inspired by. When he's 18, and to have like all this pressure, this expectations.
Can't even imagine.
I mean, the parallels to guitar are actually pretty amazing when you think about it. Somebody sees you holding a guitar, and they're like, "Oh, that person must play. Play me a song," and immediately you're just like, you know, you just shrink. But think of that on like the scale of the Connor Bedards, or really anybody coming into any professional sport, like these expectations, everybody's watching you, nitpicking every little thing you do, and if you're not amazing, you're a failure. It's like, whoa. So I think he's a wise 18-year-old, and he's handling it pretty well.
Agreed. Yeah. Very impressed. I have to just throw in there, Mr. James Bertels asked, Matt, do you have a real jersey that Tony can borrow?
I have it back at the hotel.
James is a St. Louis native here, local, and he's actually been involved with some of the blues stuff.
Nice.
And gotten us to a couple of games. So,
Nice.
James, thanks for joining us here. We appreciate it. We'll try not to let him wear this jersey too much
Listen.
longer. I know it's offending a lot of people.
We're going to a Blues game on Thursday. I'm going to buy a Blues jersey because I have to.
May I ask, since we're talking hockey, have you decided on a player, or are you going to leave it blank?
I have to have a player.
Yep.
And I don't know what options are available, but I have a very strong inkling of whom I'm going to get because they're a guitar geek. I'll just leave it at that.
Nice. Well, hopefully we'll be seeing you wear a couple of fives in maybe one of your next videos.
Yeah, a couple fives and an A.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome.
The hockey people, you'll get that. If you don't,
Go
it's okay.
Red Wings. David, get out of here.
Yeah, thanks for stealing Patrick Kane and Alex DeBrincat. No, that's really cool. Thanks, David.
We had a question from Noemi, actually. Out of curiosity, talking about writing music, you and Matt and Tony, how do you know when a piece is finished? Do you follow any quote-unquote music rules?
Very good question.
I think we're very similar in this regard.
You want to go first?
I'll hit the easy one. Music rules, I don't follow any music rules when I write. I intentionally choose alternate tunings. I intentionally don't... This is going to sound so bad. I intentionally don't care what chords I'm playing. I intentionally don't know or even want to know what notes I'm playing because I'm purely listening to what I'm playing. I want to be able to emote when something strikes me and I have a visceral reaction to it. I know I'm going in the right direction. That's really the only rule that I follow when it comes to like creating. I feel like sometimes if I get in the weeds with music theory or what chords should work together, I lose the emotion element of it. For me, that's just my personal approach to it. There are many people that do just fine knowing all the ins and outs of music theory and they can apply it and it's great. And I love their playing as well. In terms of when a song is finished, that's a good question. To me, I usually have this feeling like I want a little bit more out of it. I can't define it or quantify what I want, but something doesn't feel like it's a complete sentence. It's like if I stop, it's like if I did that. If I stop without finishing a word, that's kind of how it feels to me. And then other songs that I know are finished, I can play through and I just feel like I've rode the wave and I'm good. I feel like I've understood the statement or I've communicated the statement that I want to make. That's kind of how I judge it. I don't have a very black and white kind of situation, but that's my take.
Similar to what Tony said in my situation, Noemi, I don't even know the rules that we're playing by to begin with. So
Yeah.
So no, I don't follow them whether I wanted to or not. And when do I know a song is finished? I honestly don't know if I have ever felt like I have put the end cap on a song and said, we're done. Though I've recorded stuff and said, here it is.
Yeah.
That's frankly one of the reasons why it's been 2006 was the last time I put Matt's music out into the world for human consumption. And a big reason for that is I constantly feel like my songs are evolving, and I don't want to put it down in history in a recording and say, okay, here it is, and then continue to evolve it and then go, why did I record it then? So that's honestly a big part of it is maybe they're not ever done, at least for me. Until I maybe just get tired of playing it and then it just is what it is. But I kind of feel like whether they're keeper ideas or not, there's kind of little things sprouting off the main bones of a lot of my songs at least. So I think it might be fair to say even if it's a very slight evolution, maybe a continual evolution as they go, which can be kind of fun too, because they change faces a little bit and personalities sometimes along the way.
That's a good yeah, it's like you can capture it, but it's never. I mean, I feel the same way. Like I'll write a lot, and it will change later. And there's a lot of songs I play now where I'm like, I really wish I would have recorded it this way, but I didn't.
Sure.
So it's kind of a living, breathing thing.
And sometimes I've noticed even in kind of some of the folkier kind of stuff that I've written, fingerstyle stuff, I can play the exact same notes two different ways, just stylistically with the swing of it or whatever, and kind of have not two different songs, but certainly two very different feeling versions of a song, which, you know, like I said, you don't even need to change the notes sometimes, but just how you're approaching it and the attitude behind it, and it can kind of give you a different vibe. But Noemi, that's a really good question. We have another question here from Sharon. Sharon's in the chat. Mama Tack. You need a guitar, you just bring her with, because she will do your bidding. She'll do a great job. From Marco C, do you still come across pieces that that are in theory simple, but you find trip you up? This Kansas City boy should have taken a road trip. I'm sorry, that's the next comment.
Those are two different comments.
Hondro, help me. How do you approach that? This often knocks my confidence. Talk about getting your confidence knocked. Just look at me.
Can you read that again? Sorry.
Yes, I will.
No, I heard about a road trip and Kansas City boy.
Do you still come across pieces that are in theory simple, but you find they trip you up? How do you approach that? This often knocks my confidence.
Yeah, I think.
Can I throw an example out there?
Please.
Like for me,
sure.
Blackbird.
Yeah.
That's probably a song I should be able to play in my sleep, and I can't.
Yeah.
Just as an example.
Sure. I guess to me, it's like I chalk it up to a bad day sometimes. I mean, I'll try and play stuff that I've played a million times before, and it'll trip me up. Mm-hmm. And immediately, it's like the brain just goes to work about playing tricks. It's like, you know, you're not good anymore. You don't remember it. It's just like this spiral of stuff. So to just try and stop that, I just am like, okay, today's not my day for this. Or maybe I'll try and play it slower. Maybe I'll try and play it with a different feel. Maybe I'll try and be more deliberate. Or maybe the mistake that I make, I'll let take me in a different direction, and it'll be really cool. You know, I think even naming things or defining them as mistakes is really a tough play when it comes to music, because there's a lot of times where even I'll be writing and I'll hit something that I didn't intend, and I'm like, oh, hello, we'll go this direction now. But I can't think of like a single simple song, but there are plenty of simple things that I play that I goof up, and it does shake my confidence. But I think just chalking it up to a, you know, maybe not your day, or maybe just recalibrate the focus, or just take a break. Nothing that says you got to hammer through it.
Yep. Swap guitars out?
Sure, I'd love to.
What else do we have on the wall behind us? I'll let you pick this time.
Oh, thanks, Matt. I've been really digging this.
Oh, me too. You and me both.
And you're going to have to tell them what this is, because I don't. This is an absolute winner. I'm hoping I win the giveaway for this one.
We got you entered.
Did we pull names yet?
So Tony has just pulled down a Goodall concert jumbo with a beautiful Florentine cutaway. This is a master grade Sitka spruce top with incredible bear claw figuring all throughout there.
Yeah, you can see it good there.
Fully bound in ebony all the way around. If you flip that baby over, we've got a dark, rich set of straight quarter sawn Cocobolo that is not particularly easy to come by these days.
It's gorgeous.
Beautiful set.
It's
real dark.
I mean, I don't know what else to add. You nailed it. Matt's got the best adjectives and descriptors for guitars. I've ripped so many off of him. So thanks for that.
Oh, let's keep them rolling, baby.
Still ringing.
If you don't buy that one, I will.
Yeah. Just gonna sit this one out for a second.
Take a breath. Take a breath.
It is massively it is massive. Like it is like
that low note I can feel in my gut,
I know.
and I'm not holding the guitar.
it's just
moody tone out of that one. That's fun.
It's in D minor tuning for those who will
nice.
ask.
Nice.
Yeah.
I gotta play
Holy
in
buckets.
that one a little bit more.
Holy buckets of America.
We got a question from Claudia, who loves very small acoustics. Wants a baby Collings. What are your favorite O and below guitars?
Where did it go? this O2H with Cocobolo.
Get that one.
That's no. I'm not just saying that because it's hanging on the wall. Of a lot of the single O's that I play, that is a beautiful specimen.
And you're no stranger to the
No.
14 fret single O.
Yeah, I've got a 35 single O 17, Martin single O 17. I've got a 56 single O 18. Both are great guitars. I think that is right there. I think the vintage ones have a little bit more character, but that
Sure.
that's young. It's a baby. It's a
Sure.
newborn. I love those single O guitars. Comfort wise, playability and punch. It's just I don't know.
I think, once upon a time, or maybe just smaller guitars in general, when they're not as lightly built as they are by, like a Collings or other kind of modern great builders, they kind of can sound like they're filled up with socks or something.
Sure.
Just a little shallow, little kind of boxy sounding maybe
Yeah.
or whatever. But the lightly made ones that are really deliberately, carefully put together with nice wood, man, is the way that projection can come out of those guitars, especially on like a, Cocobolo's that hard, reflective wood. It wants to project outward. Man, they will, in terms of volume at least, they'll hang with a lot of bigger guitars.
Absolutely. I think that maybe a misconception is that you lose so much with a smaller body guitar because
Right.
there's just not that much surface area. But I think what you might lose in size, you probably gain in projection and overall, maybe volume. Maybe that's not the right term. You're way more well versed in your descriptions, but those single O's, I don't think you should sleep on them.
Yeah.
At all. I think it's a viable option for the pickiest of flat pickers.
We've sold quite a few to folks as specifically the Collings single O guitars to folks as their sort of glorified travel guitars. You can throw them in a small case or even depending on the nature of the travel, like a really nice acoustic guitar gig bag. Even
Yeah.
I've seen some folks do. And get away with doing that beautifully, and you've got an amazing little guitar to bring around with you. And those are a ton of fun, and boy, talk about a fun little studio tool just to get that mid-range forward voice.
Yeah, I played
cool.
I played a show with Jeffrey Foucault, who's a great songwriter, just phenomenal songwriter, and I had the 35 single O 17 at the gig. And we just got to talking guitars, and he's like, that's the exact guitar I use in the studio just because of the clarity and because it doesn't overpower microphone. It seems to just like cater directly to the microphone. So I don't know, that's another little nugget, another little vote for a single O.
Have either of you guys played the Martin Kovar strings?
I haven't. The Kovar strings by Martin.
I haven't even heard of them.
I've seen them out there.
Okay.
I'm just gonna admit, because thanks to the Santa Cruz parabolic strings, I pay so little attention to other strings nowadays. I hate to say, but I don't hate to say it at the same time because I know what I like and I'm good with it.
Yeah.
Personally, I'm not familiar with them, and it doesn't
I'm
sound
not,
like you
no.
are either.
I hit the Santa Cruz parabolic tensions and I stopped the search.
Well, there you go.
And I Yeah, I have nothing else to add to that. They're phenomenal strings.
Yep.
Sounds like Diodario has come out with an even tension string, maybe
Oh.
kind of chasing some of that.
Oh, interesting.
I don't have any experience with those either, but worth
Very
looking into.
Marco asks, are either Tony or Matt fans of Jack Rose's work?
Oh, huge fan. Love Jack Rose.
I'm going to make myself sound like an idiot. I don't know who Jack Rose is.
I only discovered him in the last, 4 years. He very Fahey, very American primitive. He did some great stuff with Glenn Jones. Huge fan. Big time fan of Jack Rose. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Marco. Appreciate that. Franz says, with this guitar, he says, holy smokes, one bar into Tony's playing this guitar, and I know I want it. Both the guitar and Tony's ability to play. I graduated fretboard wizard, but I still don't have those chops.
But you know about him. That's the thing. For those who don't, Fretboard Wizard is a program we offer within Tony's Acoustic Challenge. It's a music theory course that is specifically designed to be applicable to the guitar, ear training elements, and just general understanding and simplifying something that I think gets a bad rap. You know,
Nice.
those rules that we ignore, consciously or unconsciously.
Miss Q says, have either of you ever tried the Tonewood amp?
Yeah. I think I have one at the studio. I had it in a guitar. I'm not a big effects guy other than reverb, so I can't say I used it all that much. But when I did use it, it nails, it delivers. I mean, it's a great asset to those who want to explore that. I'm not a big effects acoustic guy. A good reverb is really all I want.
Reverb is kind of what I like too, and for those of you maybe that aren't familiar with the Tonewood amp, it's got multiple effects in it that can be sort of applied to your acoustic guitar that has a pickup in it. The pickup in the guitar is a essential part to make the Tonewood amp work. When I was testing the one I had, just don't use it too much anymore. It was on the K&K Pure Mini pickup, which is a passive pickup, which I later realized doesn't probably give the Tonewood amp quite as much juice to do what it's supposed to do as like a Fishman pickup or an LR Bags, a more active type of a system. Since then, a couple of the guys at the shop have gotten Tonewood amps, and we've put them in Taylor guitars and stuff, and they're great.
It's so cool to have the effects like
exactly. It's weird. You know, it's like you have to kind of get used to it because you're just used to hearing a acoustic guitar naturally, but definitely a cool effect. And I was pretty much on the reverb stuff too when I was playing with them, but definitely cool. Richard from France asks, if either of you were looking for a new guitar, whose make would you go for? And maybe this has already answered itself already because you've got 12 guitars in the works right now?
There's 3 guitars in the works right now. One from NAMM, which is like 2025-ish. No pressure, NAMM. Seriously, no pressure.
Make sure we get a couple guitars before Tony gets his guitar. No, I mean, please. Priorities.
One from Tom Sands that's in the works now, and then I have another slot from Tom that'll be later.
You're a monster.
I'm gonna be a dead man. Is what I'm gonna be. But the kids will have great instruments, right?
Good for them. Can you adopt me?
I'm sure there's some legal loopholes we can exercise there.
So Marco says, Fretboard Wizard, does that make Tony the Gandalf of YouTube guitar content? Definitely has the follicles for it.
Yeah, indeed. Might be onto something there. Might be onto something.
Do you guys have a go-to acoustic guitar amp that is also good for some vocals?
Ooh. I just hit these while you were looking at the and this guitar is just I'm not a beer drinker, but I imagine it being like a stout. A proud stout. Sorry, what was the question? The amp?
Yeah, do you guys have a go-to acoustic guitar amp that's also good for vocals?
That's probably maybe more for you.
I really like the AER.
Yeah.
That's
The
what I was gonna
AER
say.
Compact 60 is my favorite. Beyond that, I mean, there's bigger stuff you can get, like the Bose stick thing. I've got one of those. I love it. I use it for live gigs. But if you're just looking for a standalone small format amp, I think the AER Compact 60 it's just incredible.
I know we just got in the Circa 70.
Oh, I haven't had a chance to
The
try
new
that
Taylor
yet.
amps. They're pretty hit, man.
Yeah?
They look the part. And what's neat about them, and his question was kind of specific to an amp that you can, sing into as
Sure.
well. What they do that's kind of cool is they give you 2 channels that are like virtually identical. So you
Nice.
can kind of you can put 2 guitars into it. You could put 2 singers into the amp if you
Yeah.
wanted to. Guitar and vocals, and kind of just dial it, for what you need in the moment kind of thing. And they've got the little wooden amp stand that kicks them up. They're pretty hip. We played them a little bit in Chicago
Nice.
at the Fretboard Summit. They're pretty cool. They're just starting to trickle in. So that little Circa 74 would probably be
I'll have to try that
on
out.
my list for sure. Cool little amp.
Someone requested, James Bertel's requested we play the Iris guitar.
Yeah, absolutely. We can do that.
And while you're getting that down, Chuck Horan says, "Hey Matt and Tony, still loving the bearded hug. Thanks both of you
Awesome.
helping me with my guitar journey."
Chuck.
Awesome.
Chuck made me one of the coolest bowls. He turned a piece of wood and made a bowl for picks, like a wooden bowl.
Really?
Yeah. Chuck is a man of many talents, let me tell you that.
I haven't seen Chuck, I guess, since the Acoustic
if
Guy
I'm
Festival.
if I'm not mistaken, he won the Santa Cruz Vintage Southerner, the
wow.
Acoustic Life
You're right.
Festival.
You're
Fezzle.
you're absolutely right.
Let me just give this a quick little.
That'll require it. I'm sorry.
Sorry for all the asides. I don't get to spend a lot of time with Matt, so there's some asides that happen.
Sharon, great to see you as well. We sure appreciate you joining us. Sharon getting in on the single O Love,
Yeah.
47 single 017.
Oh, that's right.
Sharon,
she
was
did it.
was that the one she picked up from Villa?
Yes,
I
I
think,
believe
yeah.
believe that's correct.
Yeah. I played that guitar. It's pretty good.
That's just one of Sharon's guitars.
Oh, I know.
I look forward to seeing them in Chicago. This guitar, Matt, why don't you tell us about this guitar? Or do you want me to play it first?
I can tell you what it is real quick. This was on display at NAMM, actually, at the Iris booth. This is the MS00. Think sort of 12 fret L00 type shape here. So you've got that shortened neck. You got the bridge sunk nicely down into the gut of the top here. This is a reclaimed redwood top with you got to get the microscope out to see the grain type of thing in a lot of the patches here.
I was going to try and angle it. It's useless.
It's ridiculously tight grain on the top there. The back and sides of this one are Brazilian rosewood. This is the first Iris guitar we've ever had with Brazilian rosewood back and sides, and I am fully blown away by this guitar. Tortoiseshell binding on the body, mahogany neck. The whole guitar has sort of like an open pore, kind of a matty satin kind of a finish on it, but real natural, real organic feeling. Brazilian fingerboard and bridge, just a lightweight little 12 fret, belted out there kind of thing. Slotted headstock with the nice Iris logo up there.
Is Maddie Satin your stage name?
That's good. That's really good.
Well, that's my cue, folks. I'll see you later.
Ladies and gentlemen, Maddie Satin. What?
Can you write that down somewhere, Andro?
Yeah.
That's a keeper.
punchy little bugger. It's just,
Whoa.
yeah. It's got, I mean, it's like,
Punch you in the neck kind of a tone.
yeah, it's a doozer, that's for sure. Just in playing, I mean, I played it already today, but it's just it's one of those guitars that you can bring a light touch to, and it's fine. Mm-hmm. It's fine. If you're like a lighter picker, you don't really dig in that much. This is a great match,
Yeah.
I think. I'm always scared to tell what I think about the guitars when you're in the room, because your words, your amount of words, like I can't even talk right now.
Oh, come on. I'm just blowing smoke, man.
Yeah, this is a cool
Questions
one.
from Jim Barely. Tony, can you please tell the story of how you met Charlie Parr?
Yeah. Oh, that's a good story, man. What a cool dude. One of my dear friends and somebody that I'm so happy is in my life. He came into the studio. I can't remember when it was. 2017, maybe 2016. And I just reached out and asked him to do an interview. So we sat down, we did the interview. Very wide-ranging topics. We strayed from music almost immediately, which is in both our faults. And we just kind of hit it off. And then he would come through town. I'd make it a point to see him at shows. And then he played a show in Bozeman with the Dead Horses. I can't remember when. This is pre-COVID, maybe 2018, 2019. And he asked me to come sit in with him on Dobro. So I did. It was such a blast. We played White Freightliner Blues. It was so cool. And then the next time through, he played a show at Pine Creek Lodge, which is in Livingston, Montana. That's where we saw Billy Strings when he came.
Awesome.
I played a show with him there. He was going to have me play a couple songs, but then he's like, why don't you just come on for the whole set? And I was like, okay. I'm not going to say no to that. Although my stomach was in my throat because I was like, that's like 3 hours of playing. I wasn't worried about the duration. I was worried about how many tunes I was going to be stumped on. And it just kind of grew from there. And every time he comes through now, if we don't necessarily play together, we always make it a point to hang out, grab a cup of coffee, talk. He and Emerson, my middle son, Emerson's 3. I've said that already. He plays with him. He reads books to him. It's just it's just a wonderful human being. Great musician, but even better human being. Just an insanely kind and humble person.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And I think he's one of those types that is one of the modern, folk. Tough to define. He's just he really is carrying on that tradition, the folk tradition.
One of the real ones.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, he lives and breathes it. I mean, it's funny because he's playing at the Old Town School here coming up in the first week of March, and they have I don't know if this is I'll say it. I was like, I don't know if this is public knowledge, but Big Bill Brunzi, when he passed away, he willed his guitar to the school. It was an OM28, like a 30s OM28. And they have it there. It's really cool. It's got like a little picture of Big Bill that he put on under a watch crystal, and like it's just beat to hell. It's a cool guitar. And I called ahead and I was like, hey, when Charlie comes, try and give him the opportunity to play that guitar, because like of anybody, I feel like it's a perfect match.
Sure.
Like he needs to have that. Anyways, side
Awesome.
story. Yeah,
Awesome.
but a great dude. Very grateful that he's a friend of mine.
Awesome. Very cool. John Washburn says, I've had a difficult time watching Matt lately because I have a problem with lust in guitars. My wife should appreciate this, but does not understand it. John,
I think that's a T-shirt. My wife should just in general, like not even pertaining to guitars. My wife should appreciate this.
Thanks, John.
So good.
David asks your opinion: Santa Cruz Vintage Southerner or Collings CJ45?
I can't accurately answer that. I have not had much experience with a CJ45. I'm a little shy to give my opinion on that.
No problem. It's fair.
Big fan of the Vintage Southerner, but I've also got many hours behind that wheel.
For sure.
I've never played CJ45.
You will before you leave.
I was going to ask if you guys had one.
We'll pull one out for you. You're in the right spot for that. Jeff asks, do you know if Dead Horses ever recovered any of their stolen?
I don't know. They've had a rough couple years. There was like a van accident and like all this stuff. I don't know.
We will play next.
Uh,
Before this ends, you have to play that Ryan. That
Oh, well,
much
let's
I
just
know.
Let's do it.
let's do that. You want me to grab? I can grab that.
Trade you.
Yeah. I don't even know what tuning I ended up with this. But this guitar just knocked my socks off through the wall to this alleyway. Somebody tripped on my socks, and then their socks came flying off.
I said, whoa, that must have been a Ryan.
Yeah, that was... These socks? These came from somebody who played Orion. You're gonna have to tell the people all about this magic
With pleasure, I will.
magic stick here.
This is another guitar that was on display proudly at the NAMM show at the Kevin Ryan booth. This is a Nightingale Grand Soloist, and I think it's probably fair to say the Nightingale sort of format is among the more versatile, can definitely cover a lot of bases stylistically, just with the size and shape of the guitar, and it's you know, like most guitars, heavily reliant on what is it made out of. We've got a Lutz spruce top on this guitar. The back and sides are a very rare set of spalted koa. This is koa that Kevin Ryan was able to acquire many years ago and sat on just a couple of sets on it for a long time. This is the first guitar he's built with it, and we are completely shocked by its sound. Has some beautiful shell work kind of on the back, the sides, sort of all
Sides are
over the
gorgeous,
body.
too.
Yeah.
Just,
Spalting
like,
all the way down the side
ridiculous.
there. Really incredible. The rosette there on the around the sound hole is a very unique Larry Robinson inlay rosette there. I've never seen a rosette like that, period, but I've never seen a Ryan rosette like that. Very unique. On the fingerboard, it's a full Larry Robinson inlay. We've got a flying parrot here. We've got two toucans on the fingerboard. And we've got the ocelot cat, big cat there on the headstock. If you need to see close-ups of those, they're all on our website or will be shortly.
I think
if
I'll
they're
have
not
pictures of that
already.
one tomorrow.
Yeah,
Just some glamour
they'll be
shots.
live tomorrow. But
You got to see it. I mean, you got to see the pictures when
It's
you guys get them up there. It's
scary.
unbelievable.
And if you're not familiar, which a lot of you hopefully are, but if you're not familiar with Larry Robinson, he is one of the foremost inlay artists out there, and his work commands definite respect. And you can see the very nicest guitars in the world choose to use Larry's inlays on his guitars. And these are, please understand, not CNC cut operations or printed out or whatever. It's this is hand cut artwork done on this entire guitar. So really amazing.
It's a stunner. I mean,
it's got that richness that you always hope Koa has, and doesn't always.
it's just, and I'll mention, this is the first Ryan guitar. No, not the first Ryan guitar I played. The first one with the acoustic flutes.
Sure.
And this is not an aesthetic thing. I mean, it is. It's beautifully aesthetically, but holy cow!
Yeah.
Griffin said it great when he came down here. He's like, it's like 3D.
It is.
It's unbelievable. It's just wild. Rich. It's so like 20-year-old Koa.
Yeah, really.
You know, it's got the sparkle, but it's not brash at all. It's just so freaking good.
Very sweet.
Yeah.
Is this open D? You're in major?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool.
Just sorry,
Yeah,
I'm looking at it. I'm not even showing it. I'm just looking at it for myself. Just that little subtle, like, I don't know if you call that purfling around the back there. It's just beautiful.
Yeah, the way they frame everything out and all the lines and curves and really slick. We were lucky enough to be treated to one of the most lovely meals, thanks to the company first and foremost, but the food wasn't bad either. During NAMM at Kevin Ryan's house, they were very graciously invited us into Kevin's home, and I was just looking around, sitting in his kitchen, talking, and just looking around, realizing I don't think any of the furniture in this place was bought. I think he made not necessarily all the tables and chairs, but cabinets and things hanging on the wall. And I would point to something and say, "Did you make that?" And he would go, "Oh yeah. Could you tell?" And I was like, I can see the shape of your headstock on the top of it, and just seeing the lines of his guitars and not guitar related stuff at all. Was really fascinating. So pretty fun.
That's awesome, man. And just looking, I think it's really important to note, I feel like a salesman, and I'm totally not. I'm so it's just beautiful. Like, you look inside the guitar, the braces are gorgeous.
Right.
They're absolutely beautiful. It's like mini architecture, though. There's like mini suspension bridges in there.
Right.
Just gorgeous all through. I mean, it's incredible. That's right there. There we go. These are all easy questions. Anybody have a
I got one
real
for you.
difficult one?
This is probably an easy one too. Does Tony have any experience or have much experience with Atkin guitars?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
What are his thoughts? If not, have you got an L36 lying around for him to try?
That's funny. We were just talking about that.
Yep.
Because I have a J43 at home that is a main like strummer for me, singer-songwriter-y type thing. Whenever I play gigs with I play with this gal named Shelly Bessler. That's my go-to guitar when I'm playing with her. Oh yeah,
Keep
yeah.
going. Keep going.
And then I really enjoy the Dust Bowl series, all mahogany. Think like vintage Martin vibes. They do a 12 fret. I think they do a 14 fret as well. Played a couple of those. Been wowed. This thing here absolutely floored me because it's not a guitar that I would necessarily seek out to play, but it was here. It caught my eye, and I was like, it's a good thing I played it because it's phenomenal. And I was talking with Matt earlier on this, in that the Atkin guitars, I don't know what kind of magic or mojo they're able to cultivate and put in the instrument, but they just do. They sound old, and I feel like that's a little buzzy, because it's like, oh, you want to describe a guitar, it sounds old, it sounds woody. These guitars are a believable old. It doesn't feel like a manufactured old. It feels like this guitar was hanging on the wall and, 3 other people had it in their lives before you got it. And I'm not just talking about the relicking. I'm actually talking about the sound of the instrument. I've just been so pleased with mine. It just feels so good to play. It fits like a glove. I can't say enough good things about them. And just watching from afar, I've probably played about 10, a handful. Watching from afar and seeing what that team is doing with developing models, with trying stuff that is kind of off the wall, to be honest, colors and things like that. They've done some gold top acoustic guitars. They've done seafoam green, pink. What else? Seafoam green. They did.
Yeah.
Do you guys have that one?
Yeah, we had a seafoam. I think we had one that was like kind of minty.
Yeah.
Like that too. Yeah, they're not afraid of putting an opaque color on there. And
not shy at all. And it's just, it actually is really cool. This one in particular, having that like off-white finish, like it shows the checking really cool. It looks kind of dirty, like the way you want an old guitar to look.
L36, as requested. You're probably going to have to tune it. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Tried to find it in a hurry.
Matt gave me a 12-string to tune, and I was like, thanks, buddy. This is how you treat your guests.
Got to qualify yourself.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
I think pretty soon I'll get hired at Eddie's.
Designated tuner.
Hey, Tone, can you go in the basement? Can you just start tuning here and then work your way down the line?
Did you ask him the picks question?
No.
Top favorite picks?
Once I found the blue chip, I really didn't try anything else. But I will say, on a budget and what I played prior to the blue chip was a Dunlop Ultex Sharp 2.0.
Heavy.
It's a great pick. They make different thicknesses and stuff with the same material, but the material's great. Sounds good. It's relatively wear resistant, although I found that if you use them for a good chunk of time, you get a nice little bevel. Yeah, that's my go-to.
Do you have a specific blue chip? I'm sure someone will ask.
Yeah. It is the, what is it? TAD 1R 80.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Ooh, big boy, 80.
Yeah. It's supposed to make me play better. The higher the number, the better you play. So this one...
That's miles per hour, right?
Yeah,
like
this
speed.
is an 80. They make 100, but I'm not ready for that. I'm not. There's something about the blue chip that I don't know, just fits. And once I got a good one, I just never turned away. This is phenomenal, man. I've not played this today, but Jesus.
I told you.
Good God. that song as you're gonna get. I forgot. Let's see. It's just as pretty as you want it, but it's also like got this nasty like. Especially the D and the G, just like punchy and just like. Just a killer guitar. But like I want to flat pick this just as much as I want to finger pick it. Like it's funny. It's really funny. It's just it feels even visually it's just the same as the 43, neck wise.
Sure.
This is such a killer guitar.
I think when the time comes, that's going to be my first Atkin. Is that one right there?
It's just they just do it right.
Well, and so many folks kind of build a guitar that sort of, looks like an L00, but definitely has whoever the builder or luthier is, their own signature, their own refinements, their own, flavor on it.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. But man, I got to tell you, if you want that old, dry, woody thing, that's an awfully good way to get there.
Yeah.
It does sound old.
Too. So yeah, chalk that up to a bad day. I went through this phase of learning all these old blues and ragtime tunes, and then I went full-blown writing, and then I was like going back to play those other ones. I'm like, oh shoot.
Oh, you got to keep up with this.
Yeah. Apparently you have to keep them in the rotation, otherwise they disappear. I was like, maybe if I play it faster. It's not coming back. I have to woodshed that one a little bit.
I've got a question for you, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
And we're a couple hours deep here.
No
so
way.
We probably, we'll probably have to get going before too long.
Yeah.
Just a heads up. But I did have a question that I wanted to ask, and hopefully this is enlightening to some of our viewers here. I can speak for myself, and I hope maybe this applies to you and hopefully other folks too, but I can definitely speak for myself that when I am in what I perceive as a guitar rut, where it's like, man, I need something. I'm jonesing for something.
Yeah.
I'm looking for inspiration is ultimately what it is. And for me, one of the things that has helped that over the years that I've gone back to is simply getting out of my comfort zone of listening and start listening to new things.
Yeah.
Or sometimes, honestly, even getting nostalgic and listening to old things that I haven't listened to since I was a kid, sometimes can spark other things. Is there anything off the top of your head, inspiration-wise, whether it's directly musical or not, that you feel has been a contributing factor in your writing and playing as of late?
I mean, I agree with the rut piece where, like, it seems, I'll say this, I feel like the rut is an inevitable thing. I feel like it's a real thing. We all talk about it. I also think it's kind of a self-prescribed thing, and we can talk ourselves into the fact that, oh, we're in a rut. I'm in a rut. It's really, this is going to sound really harsh, and I'm by no means is it meant to be harsh, but it's really an admission of I'm not trying anything new right now. And I'll say this, I'll be the first one to acknowledge I'm just as guilty as the next person when it comes to this. I'll say that I'm in a rut, but if I actually look at my playing, if I sit down and I take all judgment, all like personal things aside and all how I think it's going, and if I look at what I'm actually playing, chances are I'm just staying in my comfort zone. So I guess, to answer your question about like what's some stuff that I've gotten inspiration from musically, there's a couple of artists. Will McNichol's the first one that comes to mind. He's just a phenomenal player and somebody whom I like his tone, I like his playing. I think what has gotten me lately is his composition.
Sure.
He's able to do things that are so complete and so full. And I just, even when I think he's going to maybe peter off on the bass and just focus on like maybe the melody on the high strings, he brings the bass in somehow, and I'm just like, where the hell did that come from? So I'm really listening to him for compositional stuff. I really like, I'm still in American Primitive zone, Jack Rose, Gwennifer Raymond, John Fahey, Robbie Basho, Peter Lang, Daniel Bachman. Because to me, listening to them, it's very freeing. Because to me, while the music may be simple, I think the emotions behind it are very complex. And I think the way that it comes across is very complex and very like visceral, like it grabs you by the ears and it's like, listen. Sure. There's this, I can't remember, I think maybe Argentinian guitarist, DeGary, D''Gary, Gary. So cool to listen to. Talk about a guitar in just another setting, different style of play, all around different, just pulling me way out of my comfort zone. There's a cellist that I just found. I think he's from Africa, Ansel, A-N-S-E-L. I can't remember his name, but it's like a very vocal driven cello thing.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, to answer your question, sorry, that was a little bit long-winded. Is pushing myself to listen to other stuff, just exactly. Like you said. Yeah. I will also say probably the topmost inspiration is just like kind of where I am in my life right now. I've got kids on both ends of the spectrum. I got my oldest son Aiden. He's into drumming. He's playing jazz drums. He's really into it. And then the youngest one, I'd like sing or anything, and he just smiles, and it's just like. To me, that's what it's all about. Is like I see my kids enjoying music in different forms. I enjoyed music with my dad. We still share, YouTube videos of different artists back and forth. And it's like, what the hell did I get into this thing for? Because what I thought I got into it for is vastly different from how I feel now.
Yeah.
I thought I got into it to be just like awesome and shreddy and just impress and try and show people that, man, I can play guitar. But like the reality is, like when I go to bed at night, I just want to make good music that sounds awesome. So if I'm able to stay true to that, I feel like I can keep the rut at bay, because I know that I'm progressing if I keep playing. I know that. So that's that's kind of my guiding light. But if I keep it in a perspective of like, man, my kids get to hear their dad play music. Like, they get to participate in it. They see the joy it brings me, creative expression, etc. Like, maybe they take that and do music great. If they don't, that's fine too. Maybe they do it in art or writing or whatever.
At the very least, they'll be able to tell similar stories that you tell about your dad, about you years from now, which is pretty badass.
It's awesome. It like kills me to even talk about it, like in a good way, like kind of chokes me up.
Sure.
But like, yeah, I think you can get caught up in how good you are and comparing and all this stuff, and it kind of can force you into that rut mentality. But like, just hanging on to why you're into it. You know, why do you spend time doing it?
Right.
You know, if you really sink into that and feel the feelings when you're doing it, I think it's important. Keeps things in perspective for me, that's for sure.
Remo would like to know, have you listened to Clive Carroll?
Yeah, I have. That's one of Will's big either mentors or one of his big inspirations. I'm pretty sure.
Nice.
Because Clive, if I'm not mistaken, I might be butchering the story. Clive taught Will the ping pong ball trick. You heard about that?
I don't even want to know.
For fingernails?
Oh, no.
You cut up a ping pong ball in the shape of your fingernail.
I thought this was going to be like balancing or juggling to get better at guitar.
No. And then you like super glue it under your existing nail. And it's like this super tough thing without having to get acrylic nails.
Interesting.
I haven't done it yet, but
interesting.
I think that was Clive's thing that he told Will, but I could be mistaken.
Good to know. Well, folks, you got anything for us there, Hondi?
Well, we got to make you pick one guitar.
Oh, so
the one I get to take home. Oh, the one. You guys are so awesome.
Oh, I figured you played for us all this
Cool.
time.
Yeah.
What's the most expensive one?
I know we didn't get to play all of them on stream, but I know you get to play most of them setting up.
Yeah, what we normally do in the spirit of our live streams is we play through all the guitars, and then Hondro and I kind of say, well, we really liked this one or these couple, and then folks, of course, comment in, what their favorites were. So out of curiosity, did you have a favorite? And of course, we'll ask our audience if there was anything Tony played that particularly spoke to them. And let me just say real quickly, let's get this out of the way. Thank you for playing these guitars.
Oh, thanks for letting me play the guitar.
I have to believe these people are really tired of me playing the same songs over and over again. So it's so nice to get some fresh tunes in here.
Side note, we need to pump Matt up because dude's a good player. And I know we both battle this like expectation thing, but dude, you're a damn fine player.
Well, thank you, sir.
And I don't think anybody's sick of hearing you play. That's for sure.
I appreciate that.
And I'm saying that just to butter you up so you can give me one of these. No, I'm just
It's working.
kidding.
Keep going. It's working.
This is tough. This is a tough lineup. If I was to pick one, I think it'd be the Goodall.
I knew you were going to say the Goodall.
It'd be the Goodall.
I knew it.
They all have their own things that they excel at. I think the Goodall, for where I'm at and what I'm playing right now, is a shoe-in.
Yeah.
I think it's a shoe-in.
Amazing guitar.
Yeah.
Amazing. What spoke to you there, Hondro?
I really like the fidelity of that Goodall and that thumpy low end, just the whole package. But I'd probably pick the Ryan. From a sonic perspective, from a art perspective, a masterpiece that it is.
It's
visually.
got a pretty cool story.
And
like
the story
if you're a
behind
fan of Kevin's at all, it's got a cool story.
Exactly.
It sounds like we've got a couple of votes for the Ryan here in chat, and looks like an L36, Atkin. Glad we pulled that out. What else do we have here? Yeah, another for the L36. That one might disappear pretty quick, thanks to you.
Wow.
Unless it goes home with you.
I'm on a strict diet.
A sans-only diet?
I'm on a strict diet. It's just water and cayenne pepper and honey for me. That's it.
That's all right. Folks, again, thank you so much for spending your afternoon with all of us here. Tony, we so appreciate you spending time with us in the shop here. Can't wait to hope to hang a little bit more this evening. And folks, as always, we so appreciate you being here. And Of course, any questions that we can help with, shoot us an email, reach out, call us anytime. But we'll plan to catch you all